Hi, this is Rahul Madke from PI Training Hub. Before we go through Tableau videos, we'll first understand why do we need this visualization in the overall project. So when we talk about visualization is basically converting your data into graphical presentation. So here we'll first understand why do we need this visualization. So when we talk about visualization, it is whenever we see anything, we try to capture that information and then we keep that information in your memory, and then recalling that information is very quick. For example, if I ask you which one was your first school, you'll get the image in fraction of seconds, because before learning any language we were actually going through the things, we were visualizing them, capturing that information and storing it somewhere in memory. So recalling that information is very quick. That's where the humans are biologically wired to process the world visually. That's why we understand images instantly, and then we capture that information, we store it, and then we can quickly recall it. So we want to use the same concept in the business area, where we talk about business data. We have huge data captured. We have millions of records and thousands of columns captured now, and every business decision maker wants to analyze all the data points to understand what is happening in their business data. So as we cannot capture the whole information and convert that into rows and columns, or we cannot export that into Excel file to analyze those Excels, we want something which will help us to convert that data into efficient way of taking business decisions, and that's where the visualization comes into picture. So when we talk about visualization, it follows some science. Whenever we see things, we see them in patterns. So our human brain quickly recognizes what all different patterns we have, and we can understand what is going out of pattern, and then we can have decisions on top of the things which are going out of pattern. For example, if I give you Excel file which is having monthly sales value of one of the superstore data, and if we actually go through that Excel file which is having last 10 years of sales value, then we'll have 120 points. Now if you want to understand in which month we got maximum sales value, we need to go through 120 points to understand in which month we got maximum sales, versus if we create a line chart, we can quickly understand the line chart. So here the visualization will help us to quickly understand the data and have insights on top of the data. So whenever we see things, we see them in pattern, and if something is going out of pattern, we can quickly understand what is going out of pattern. So if you look at the screen, we have different examples of what patterns we can see. If we say the first graph, it is talking about the length of the graph. If we have a bar chart, if something is having more value, we can quickly see that value and take decisions. So this length, width, size and position will help us to quickly find the insights, quickly find something which is going out of pattern, and we can understand what is happening in that particular point. If we talk about the second row, so if we have different shapes or different curvatures or added marks or enclosures, we can understand those points quickly. If we change the color, if we change the hue, if we have inclinations or orientations, or if we have special grouping, that will help us to understand what is going out of pattern, and we can take decisions on top of it. So whenever we see things, we capture that information, and then we see things in patterns. If something is going out of pattern, we don't have to go through all the points to understand what is happening in the data. We can find something which is going out of pattern, and then we can have actions on top of that data. That's where this visualization will help us to capture the data, and then we'll show it in the presentable format where business can take quick decisions on top of the data which is captured. So what is this data visualization? Data visualization is graphical presentation of the information which we have. So generally we have data captured in tables or Excel files in rows and columns. Now we want to convert that data into graphical presentation so users can see that data, and then they can have quick insights on top of whatever data we have. Why do we need this data visualization? Because we want to have quick understanding of the data points, and then this visual analysis will help us to present this data in effective way, so you can have your visual thinking on top of the data points which are captured. When we talk about visualization, irrespective of what tools we are using for the visualization, we need to focus on these 5 important points. First is data. Now, visualization layer is the only layer which talks to business users. Your business user will never go to your database to understand what is happening in the data. They'll always look at the dashboards and will take decisions on top of whatever data you have shown in the visualization. So make sure whatever data you're showing in the visualization layer is accurate. If you have any mistake in the data, that will impact on the overall business decision making, and that will impact on the overall process. So whenever we are talking about the visualization layer, we need to make sure our data is accurate on this visualization. Second important point is view. View is what key performance indicators you want to show to the business user so they can take decisions on top of the data. View is your insights which you want to show to user. When we talk about data, we really have huge data capture nowadays. We have literally billions of records and thousands of columns. Now we need to decide what is that most important information which we want to show to end user so they can take decisions on top of whatever data we are showing. That is your key performance indicator, which is the second important point in visualization. The third important point here is discovery of patterns. As we have seen in the previous slide, whenever we talk about visualization, we can see different patterns. So we use these patterns to show our data with different trends, outliers, clusters, and then we can see what is going in pattern and what is going out of pattern. If something is going out of pattern, we can quickly see those things and we can take decisions on top of the data. The fourth important point in visualization is story. Story is telling something as set of sequences, so that will create right impact on user. User will understand what is happening and why those things are happening. So we have this storytelling feature in different visualization tools, which will help us to derive a story on top of the data points which we have. So did you use any storytelling feature till now? Yes, the PowerPoint presentation is a storytelling feature where one slide talks about one point of the story and you try to derive a pattern or you try to derive insights on top of your story. So the storytelling will help you to tell users what insights you have got in your data. The fifth important point here is actions. Action is basically interaction with your report. If I give you a static report, I'm forcing you to see the same data with that report, versus if I give you actions on top of that report, whether it is a drill up, drill down, a filter which we have on the dashboard, or maybe you'll have hierarchy there where you can slice and dice the data and you can understand what is happening in the data. So action is interaction with the report, where you can ask questions to your report and that will give you answer based on your interactions through this filter, the actions, drill up, drill downs. So these are the 5 important points which we need to consider while working on the visualization. And when we talk about this visualization, if you see any data warehousing project, any data driven project, we have different modules there. First one will be your business understanding, where you'll understand what are different KPIs or what are different insights you want to see on the data. Then you have data mining, where you typically have data capturing from different sources. Once we capture this data, we try to save it in some of the tables, and then the data is not in the clean format. We cannot directly create a report on top of the data which we have captured. So there we have data cleansing processes where we will clean the data. We'll have data quality management processes in place, and output of that data quality management will be given to your data exploration part. In data exploration, we'll have all the ETL processes where we'll have extraction from the tables after the cleaning data, and then we'll have all the business logic applied on top of the data. Then we'll keep the results in staging layer. From there we can have visualization created, or we can have different prediction algorithms or statistical algorithms applied. Once we process this data with all these statistical algorithms, then we need visualization of the data. So there are 2 things here in reporting. One will be the traditional reporting, like you can just fetch that data in Excel and CSV file and we can have processing on that data. The second option is data visualization. With this data visualization, we can convert rows and columns into graphical presentation, and we can understand what is happening in the data with this graphical presentation. And there are different tools in this visualization layer We can even use Excel to create visualization. You can have PowerPoint presentation. You have different tools like Tableau, ClickView, ClickSense, Power BI, Dundas. There are n number of tools which you can use to visualize this data. So we can use this visualization to convert your data into graphical presentation to find quick insights on top of the data.